Hello friends, I am lecturer Sharan Deep Singh from Electrical Engineering Department of Government Polytechnic College, Talwada. Today we are going to discuss the part 2 of our ongoing chapter Power Generation. To start with, first of all, we should know what is importance of non-conventional or renewable sources of energy. As all of you know, the population is growing and there is more need for fossil fuels such as coal, oil, petroleum or gas. There will come a day when these type of sources will not be available. So in order to secure our future, we should use more and more renewable sources of energy. The renewable sources of energy are abundant in nature. The energy potential of India is estimated at about 95,000 megawatt. So you can imagine how much potential is still available in this field. There are various types of renewable energy sources. The renewable energy sources are replenished automatically in the environment. So they are to be used free of cost. The main advantage is the renewable sources of energy are pollution free. They are eco-friendly. They do not cause any environmental hazards. As of 31st March 2020, about 36% of India's installed electricity generation capacity is from renewable energy sources. And one thing to notice, in Paris Agreement, India has committed to achieve a target of 40% of its total electricity from renewable sources by 2030. Moving forward, first of all, the most important renewable source of energy is solar energy. Where does solar energy comes from? It comes from sun. As you can see in the diagram, solar energy from the sun is converted into electrical energy. But how it is converted? It makes use of solar panels. Solar energy is the cleanest and most abundant renewable energy source available. Solar panels are generally made up of silicon, and the energy obtained, or we can say the electricity obtained from solar energy, can be used in homes. Also, solar energy can be used for heating water for domestic or commercial uses. Moving forward, now what are the solar technologies? What are the ways to harness the solar energy? There are three main ways to harness solar energy. First is photovoltaic, second is solar heating, and at last it is concentrating solar power. Photovoltaic or PV cells generate electricity directly from sunlight, which can be used to power anything from small electronic devices, and also they can be used to give power to homes as well as commercial business. Next, we can also use solar heating. In solar heating, we can take example of solar water heater, which can be used at houses. As you can see in the diagram, there is a sun, and the solar radiations which are given from the sun are made to fall on a solar cell, and the solar cell converts energy of sun into electrical energy. It is to be noted that solar cell is not a single cell. In fact, it is a module of various cells which are interconnected. Various cells are used because a single cell cannot produce enough energy which is to be required. So we require many solar cells interconnected with each other. The solar cells are mainly made up of semiconductor materials. Mainly the material used is silicon. Moving forward. Now when the electricity is produced from a solar cell or a PV cell, it can be stored in a battery which can be used later on, or it can also be sent to an electrical grid. As you can see in a diagram how a PV cell works. First of all, there is a solar cell. It consists of upper surface and lower surface. It is made up of semiconductor materials, and a junction is formed which is called as PN junction. Now there is a front contact and a back contact. These both of these contacts are connected with the wire. The sunlight falls on the solar cell, and the electrons which are present in the semiconductor material are excited. As all of us know, whenever electron moves, with the movement of electron, electric current produces. This electrical current flows in the electrical circuit if an closed path is provided to it. So that's the basic principle of a photovoltaic cell or a solar cell. Now, as we can see, the closed path is provided to a solar cell, so current can move only in a one direction. The electricity which is produced can be used in household to light up various equipments. Next, now the current which is obtained from solar cell is DC. We have to convert it into AC because in houses we use AC electricity. This work is done by an inverter. As you can see in the diagram, the blue colored panels are the solar cells or the solar panels. Solar panels harness the energy of sun and provide DC electricity. This DC electricity can be stored in a battery in form of DC energy, or it can be converted from DC to AC by using an inverter. Now, the AC electricity which is produced can be used in home appliances such as bulbs, TVs, fans, etc. And it can also be sent to a grid. In the figure, we are looking at typical grid connected PV solar system. Moving forward, next application of solar energy is solar water heating system. As you can see in the diagram, there is a solar thermal collector and there is a hot water tank and there is a pump. Now, what happens in a solar thermal collector? It consists of various pipes in which liquid flow. Now, whenever the sun rays fall on this solar thermal collector, the liquid which is present in these pipes gets heated up. Its temperature increases. The liquid is nothing but water. Now, this hot water can be used for washing or bathing, etc. at homes. When this hot water is used, the cold water again flows into these pipes, and when there is sunlight, the cold water again converted into hot water. This water passes through pipes which are insulated, so water remains at high temperature for a long period of time due to good quality of insulated pipes. So this is good application of solar energy. These are some important points regarding working of a solar water heater. The system is generally installed on roof or open ground. Now its collectors must face the sun because sun rays should fall directly on it. As I have already told, the tubes absorb solar heat and becomes hot, which transfer their energy to water, and this water can be used for domestic purposes. Next, what are advantages of solar energy? First of all, we all know it is pollution free. It do not produce any smoke. Secondly, by using solar energy, we can have reduced dependence on fossil fuels. Return on investment is good on these, but it will be after a long period of time. Next, in this, the batteries can be used to store solar energy for a large period of time, which can be used later on. As I have already told, solar energy can be used to light bulbs or running fans, but it can also be used for making water hot in case of solar water heaters. Last advantage is almost no maintenance is required to keep solar cells running. As we all know, there are no moving parts, so there is no wear and tear, so it has high life. Next are disadvantages. The initial cost for solar panel material is high. Solar panels also require additional equipment like inverters, which convert DC electricity to alternating current. It, Next disadvantage is it depends on weather fluctuations. No solar power will be available at night because no sun will be there. So we have to store the solar energy in form of electricity in batteries, which is also a costly procedure. Next. Next important form of renewable energy is wind energy. What is wind? Wind is nothing but it is the flow of air which is caused due to uneven heating of atmosphere by the sun. Besides this, there are many other factors like variation in Earth's surface, rotation of Earth, mountains, and other bodies which are present on Earth's surface. All account for flow of wind. Wind is a very clean source of energy. It has no effect on atmosphere. Now wind energy makes use of wind turbines. How wind turbine works, we will see on next slide. First of all, look at the overall process. As you can see, there is a wind turbine. The wind power falls on wind turbine and makes the wind turbine to rotate. Now the wind turbine is connected to a generator through a gearbox. What gearbox do? As we all know, the wind turbine rotates at slow speed, but in generator we require high speed because we require enough amount of electrical power. This work is done by gearbox. It connects turbine and generator. Gearbox increases the speed for the generator, so generator speed rotates at high speed and it produces the required electrical power. The electrical power can be given to a grid. Now, the control system is present in order to control the electrical circuit, and we can also control the turbine by controlling its blades or its angles. The turbine converts wind power into mechanical power and the generator converts mechanical power into electrical power. Next, now what is wind turbine? Wind turbine is nothing but it is a device on which when the air falls, I mean when the wind flows, the blades of wind turbine starts rotating and the wind turbine is connected to a generator and the generator converts mechanical power to electrical power. There are two types of wind turbines, horizontal axis wind turbines and vertical axis wind turbines. But horizontal axis wind turbines are mostly used. I have already told the working of gearbox. It transforms the rotor rotation from low speed to high speed. So that was all about wind turbine. Moving forward. Next are the advantages of wind energy. First of all, it is a renewable source of energy. Second, it has low running cost because in operation of wind power plant, we only require wind to flow. We don't require any other type of fuel. It is a green energy source, do not cause any pollution. Wind turbines have a small footprint. The size of turbine is surely large, but if we look at ground, there is a wind turbine tower and it occupies less area as compared to wind turbine. It can provide power to remote locations. There are some type of locations where it can be used where normal electricity from steam power plant can't reach. So this is the advantage of wind power plant. It requires low maintenance. Next are the disadvantages. The major disadvantage is it depends on the flow of wind, that is speed and direction of wind. So if wind is not available, then it will not work properly. The farms will affect the appearance of the landscape. Some of you may not like the shape of the wind power plant or the wind power plants which are present on the plain grounds. It may affect local wildlife. For example, take an example of a bird. The turbines which are continuously rotating may take life of a bird. So they are very harmful for birds or bats, etc. The wind farms can be expensive to construct. Now, the single wind turbine can't produce the required electricity, so the wind farms are used in which a number of wind turbines are used. So they may be expensive initially. Next, we will do a comparison between steam power plant, hydroelectric power plant and nuclear power plant because these three are the main power plants which are currently used. First of all, site. Site means the place where it is present. Now, the steam power plant requires water and coal, so it requires transportation facilities. Hydroelectric power plants generally require water, so mostly they are constructed in hilly areas. The nuclear power plant are located away from thickly populated areas in order to avoid radiations. Next is the initial cost. For steam power plant, the initial cost is lower than both of other plants. For hydroelectric power plant, the initial cost is very high because of dam construction. For nuclear power plant, the initial cost is highest due to huge investment in building nuclear reactor and other safety procedures. Next is running cost. The steam power plant has high running cost as compared to hydroelectric and nuclear because of requirement of huge amount of coal. The running cost for hydroelectric power plant is nil because no fuel is required. For nuclear power plant, except the hydropower plant, it has minimum running cost because in this only small amount of fuel is required for production of electricity. Next are limits of source of power. For steam power plant, coal is a source of power which has limited reserves in world, so it has to be transported from one place to other. For hydroelectric power plant, water is required which depends on rainfall. For nuclear power plant, the nuclear fuel is used which is generally uranium. The source of power is available in sufficient quantity but at some places. But it has an advantage that only a small piece of uranium can produce tremendous amount of energy. Next is cost of fuel transportation. For steam power plant, the fuel transportation cost is maximum because the coal is to be transported to the plant site. For hydroelectric power plant, it don't require any fuel, so fuel transportation cost is almost zero. Next, for nuclear power plant, it is minimum because the quantity of fuel required is minimum. Next is cleanliness and simplicity. Steam power plant is least clean due to production of smoke. Hydroelectric power plant is very simple and clean. Nuclear power plant is less cleaner because in this nuclear radiations or nuclear waste may be produced which may cause hazards. Next, the efficiency of steam power plant is about 25%. The hydroelectric power plant has efficiency of 85%. Nuclear power plant has efficiency higher than steam power plant. For starting time, the steam power plant requires a lot of time for starting. Hydroelectric power plant can be instantly started and put on load. Nuclear power plant can also be easily started. Next is the space requirement. The steam power plant requires sufficient space because of boilers and other auxiliaries which are connected to it. Hydroelectric power plant also require a very large area because of reservoir, that is dam. Next, for nuclear power plant, they require less space as compared to other plant of equivalent capacity. Next is the maintenance cost. Maintenance cost for steam power plant is quite high because skilled operating staff is required. For hydroelectric power plant, it is low, and for nuclear power plant, the maintenance cost is very high, as in this highly trained staff is required to handle the plant. Next is transmission and distribution cost. It is quite low for steam power plant because it may be located near load center. For hydroelectric power plant, it is high because these are located away from the load center. For nuclear power plant also, the cost is low. Next, standby losses. The standby losses in steam power plant is maximum because of the boiler. It remains in operation even when the turbine is not working. In hydroelectric power plant, no standby losses, and in nuclear power plant, the standby losses are very less. So that was the completion of the power generation. Thank you all for listening. Have a good day.